God, I love this idle animation. Since Xinyan's release, I've been stumbling upon very sad statistics about her. One of the lowest usage in the Abyss, one of the lowest player base and overall popularity. Some people even called her unplayable and just bad. But I had to try her out myself to know if that's true. And that last statement is definitely not true. Xinyan is playable. She's trying, okay? People are too spoiled, honestly. While I was playing Xinyan, she turned out to be surprisingly fun for me. But if she was fun for me, doesn't mean that she will be fun for you. So I hope you can make a decision whether to play her or not after this video. The gameplay will give you a basic understanding of the character and what to expect from a free-to-play build. Xinyan here is level 80, she is at Constellation 2, has 3 good artifacts out of 5, and level 90 prototype archaic at refinement rank 5. Now before we start, I have a question for you guys. Do you think that this gesture of goodwill will revive Xinyan? Just like Chi-Chi was kinda revived last patch with this obnoxious corrosion effect in the Abyss? Post your answers in the comments below. As always, we are starting with skills. Xinyan normal attack consists of 4 strikes. They have a decent damage percentages, but also slow. Compared to other Claymore users, she may be the slowest. And her charged attack turns her into Beyblade. A small piece of advice. If you're using mostly normal attacks, you can do a small animation cancel with the 4th attack, with dash or jump. Do that to avoid that awkward pause in the end. Xinyan's elemental skill grants a shield that will have its strength based on a defense stat. Depending on the number of enemies hit, shield can be bigger. There are 3 levels. Level 1, when you hit 1 enemy you receive a shield. Level 2, when you hit 2 enemies the shield will be bigger. And level 3, when you hit 3 or more enemies, you get even bigger shield, and it will also deal pyro damage to the enemies in a small radius around active character. The shield has 12-second duration, 18-second cooldown, and a 250% damage absorption effectiveness against pyro damage. Xinyan Elemental Burst will deal large physical damage to the nearest enemies in a small area and launch them. Afterwards, it will deal pyro damage in a bigger area. This skill has 15-second cooldown and 60 energy cost. Xinyan's first passive skill decreases the number of enemies needed to be hit by elemental skill to trigger shield levels. So to get level 2 shield you need to hit 1 enemy, and for level 3, 2 enemies. Her second passive grants 15% physical damage bonus to characters that are protected by elemental skill. Now let's move to constellations. Xinyan's first constellation increases her attack speed by 12% after scoring critical hits with attacks. This effect can be triggered every 5 seconds, and the duration is the same. Basically, if you have enough crit rate, or lucky enough, you can have this buff 100% of the time. Her second constellation will form level 3 shield after casting Elemental Burst, and its physical damage will crit every time. I think this is the best constellation, and it can be worth pulling from the banner if Xinyan is featured, and if you play her, of course. Constellation 3 is just an elemental skill level up. With Constellation 4, elemental skill initial damage will decrease enemies' physical resistance by 15% for 12 seconds. This is the second best constellation in my opinion. Constellation 5 is just a burst upgrade. And Constellation 6 decreases stamina of Xinyan's charged attacks and gives an attack bonus equal to 50% of her defense. This constellation adds a little bit of oomph to her kit and adds a new build that is defense based. Now let's talk about artifacts. For main DPS Xinyan, I would recommend using 2-piece Pale Flame and 2-piece Bloodstained Chivalry sets. It is the easiest combo to use without extra bells and whistles. Also, it is easy to farm and get good substats on, since now we can reroll 5-star artifacts. Yes, Pale Flame can be stronger on paper, but 4-piece passive is dependent on level 3 shield and also pyro damage from it. And since her shield is weak, you probably won't get 4-piece passive most of the time. But if you have this set with good substats, use it instead of wasting your time and resources on farming. It will be better than using some mediocre artifacts to get another 2-piece set bonus. Another good option would be Bloodstained Chivalry set. Use the set if you're gonna play Xinyan the Beyblade way, literally spin to win. And as for stats, attack on Sands, physical damage bonus on Goblet, and crit rate or crit damage on Circlet. For quick swap build, I would recommend the Fate set, since you will rely on elemental bursts a lot. Another good option would be the same 2-piece Pale, 2-piece Sheaf sets. You can also try another 2-piece set options like Noblesse Oblige for elemental burst damage boost, 2-piece Fate set for energy recharge, and 2-piece Glad or 2-piece Shimenawas for attack % damage bonus. For stats, energy recharge on sets, and other stats are the same as for DPS build. Oh, and if you're using the Fate set, prioritize energy recharge in general. Try to get as close to 50% energy recharge as you can. Now for support build, there's not many options there. Tenacity of the Millennials is the best option here, or if you don't have characters that use Noblesse set, use it on Xinyan instead. For stats, I know this sounds ridiculous, but go all in defense if you're planning on using her only for shields, or if you want to see her elemental burst once in a while, use energy recharge Suns. Coming to the weapon section, the order will be from the best in category and descending to viable. For free-to-play, we have a lot of options. DPS Xinyan should pick Snow-Tomed Star Silver over Prototype Archaic. They are almost the same, but Star Silver will have a more consistent damage output. Next we have Luxurious Sea Lord for more elemental burst damage. Then I think that Skyrider's Greatsword is better than White Blind and Nagamasa Claymore, just because of the substat, and the value of the substat is massive, by the way, 43% bonus physical damage. You literally can't find another sword with substat this big. For free-to-play quick swap build, I would put Fish Claymore at the first place, then Nagamasa, and after that in order, Star Silver, Archaic, Skyriders, and White Blind. I put Nagamasa Claymore on the second place, simply because this build is elemental burst oriented and you need a lot of energy recharge. As for free-to-play support builds, White Blind is the best, then in order, Nagamasa Blade, Star Silver, Archaic, Fish, and Skyrider's Greatsword. For remaining 4 stars, for DPS options, Blackleaf Slasher is the best, then a difficult choice between the Lithic Blade at 4 stacks and Serpent Spine. I think the Lithic Blade at 4 stacks is better. Of course, if you have enough crit rate, and with refinements, it will become even better. But if you have like 2 Liyue characters in the party, then of course, Serpent Spine will be better, and then we have the Royal Greatsword. For quick swap build, Sacrificial Greatsword over Favonius. Yes, the energy recharge is 30% lower, but this difference becomes smaller, taking the passive into consideration. Also, 111 attack difference is big. For the rest of the swords, it is the same as for DPS build, and honestly I would leave the same order for support build. But overall for support build, I think White Blind is the best. For 5-star weapon, Song of the Broken Pines is the best, then the Unforged, Wolf's Gravestone, and Skyward Pride. For quick swap, Skyward Pride is the best, and for support, the Unforged takes the first spot. Coming to the teams section, I want to cover one important thing. That applies to every physical damage dealer in the game. And the thing is defense shredding. It can be obtained via a Superconduct elemental reaction. It lowers physical defense of the enemies in AoE by 40% for 12 seconds. To create this reaction, you need Cryo element with Electro element infused together. Yeah, I know, common sense at this point, sure, but some people may not know this. Also, some characters can provide defense shred on their own. For example, Zhongli will shred 20% of the enemy's physical defense in a small AoE if you have his shield up, and Xinyan can shred some defense herself at Constellation 4. So basically most of the teams will look like this: Xinyan with any Electro character and any Cryo character. And the last spot is up to you. Now for examples. For free-to-play DPS team, Xinyan, Kaya, Lisa, and Jungling, equip Lisa with the Trilling Tales of Dragon Slayers, Kaya with Noblesse set, and Jungling here is for 25% attack from Pyro Resonance. You can also try swapping Kaya for Alloy and Lisa for Electro Traveler, but it won't be a good change in my opinion. Alloy elemental skill cooldown is too long, 20 seconds, so you won't be able to do Superconduct reaction effectively. And as for Lisa versus Traveler, Lisa has defense shred with her second passive, but Traveler is easier to use for Superconduct. Also you can throw in Noelle instead of Jungling if you die a lot. Set recommendations would be Fate set and Sacrificial Bow for Alloy, and Noblesse set with Energy Recharge Sword for Traveler. Now to the filthy pay-to-win teams. Xinyan, Bennett, Rosaria, and Sarah is a great team. It has 2 damage amplifiers, heals, crit rate boost from Rosaria's second passive, and of course Superconduct elemental reaction. This one is a high risk, high reward team. You will actually notice the damage output if we're talking about Abyss, for example, but you trade this damage for not having strong shields in the team. So if you can dodge, you're basically dead. If you don't have Sara, you can put Fischl in. Make sure to use 4P strength of the Milenis set on her to get the damage bonus. Also, you can swap out Rosaria for Diona for shields if you have hard time playing. Then adding Zhongli is always a great idea if you have him, of course, and anemo characters can do some magic with their grouping abilities. Getting that sweet big damage from Xinyan's elemental burst can be tough sometimes, since AoE of the physical damage is small, so Venti, Sucrose and Kazuha can support you here. I would say these characters are essential for a quick swap team. And an example for that would be Xinyan, any grouping character, Rosaria and Kujo Sara. At first, you group the enemies, then use Rosaria's burst and skill, then Sara's skill and burst, and Xinyan's burst. Remember to get into the Kujo Sara's electro explosions to get the same damage buff as from her elemental skill. The one time you shouldn't be doing that is when you're affected by Pyro. Or else... And another example team is Xinyan, Zhongli, anemo character, and Bennett. Now for support Xinyan, use her with physical main DPS characters like Eula, or if we're on about free-to-play, maybe Kaya, I don't know. Xinyan is definitely not the best character in the game. Her damage won't be on par with, let's say, Razor or Beidou, but she's not as terrible as people say. Yeah, sure, maybe that's because I have her at C2, and I haven't played her before that, so... But for me, a person who had played made a 5-star triple ultra omega rare main DPS characters forever, that are also decently geared by the way, she was a breath of fresh air. It's like I went back in time when the game felt challenging and new. Nowadays you just put on Zhongli's shield to become unkillable and do a few auto attacks with Hu Tao. Now, in Abyss, Xinyan is playable. She wasn't frustrating to play or anything, but the main and only problem is obviously the timer, because you won't be able to get 12 stars at least without some godly artifacts and a 5-star weapon in my opinion. Would I recommend playing Xinyan? I mean, if you're a masochist, if you're a veteran player that cares only about numbers and how fast can you kill X amount of enemies, then my answer is no. If you're like me, kinda bored from this game, then Xinyan can be a great change of pace. And if you're new and don't have many characters yet, sure, play her. But I wouldn't recommend maxing her out only because you will get better characters soon. And before I end this video, I want to thank all the people who subbed to this channel, even with my 2-month absence. There are almost 150 of you. Thank you, I appreciate that a lot. Also, one of my videos got blessed by YouTube. 120,000 plus views. What? I mean, I'm not complaining. That's cool, I guess. Yeah, do your thing on this one too, YouTube algorithm. I mean, probably not. This is Xinyan video and not Kuching. And I think that's it. Don't forget to like if you found this video helpful. Subscribe for more videos in the future. This channel won't be on hiatus for another 2 months, I promise. Also, Hu Tao and Thoma content is coming, so stay tuned. If you have questions, ask them in the comments or come to my live streams. I stream on Twitch and maybe I will start multi-streaming on YouTube soon. Oh yeah, and I will be pulling for Hu Tao and Staff of Homa when the new banner drops. So come and witness how I spend all of my Primogems for nothing, I guess. And now that's definitely it. See you in the next one.